Good evening, everyone, and welcome to day 6 of the 8-day online national conclave on dialogues in English studies, contemporary approaches to
Good
pedagogy.
evening, everyone.
Contemporary approaches to pedagogy, research, and practices. We're delighted to begin the session and we look forward to another day of meaningful conversations, critical reflections, and engaged learning. It's my honor to introduce our presiding speaker for this session, Dr. Nallasamy VP, Principal, VET Institute of Arts and Science, Zero. Dr. Nallasamy is an exceptional teacher, a committed mentor, and a valued colleague. He is known for his intellect. He is very much known for how he is always open to share knowledge, his continued pursuit of professional growth, and his genuine dedication to student development. What sets him apart is his constant effort to explore meaningful ways to enhance learning experiences and support students in becoming better, confident, and capable individuals when they graduate. We're very grateful for his presence today and for his guidance in presiding over the session. I warmly invite Sir to preside over the session and share a few words with us now.
Oh, good evening to all of you. My special good evening to our respected resource person, Dr. Babu Balraj, and dear Kavya, and my dear participants from various domains throughout the country. So I'm very happy to preside this day 6 of 8-day online national conclave on dialogues in English studies, contemporary approaches to pedagogy, research, and practices. So, this is an excellent conclave, and the topic we are going to discuss today is an excellent one because all the academicians in India at present are in very cutthroat competition because, like globalization, education also come to this part. So, we have to compete the global in the aspects of research and in education. If you come for research publication, I would like to contradict one real incident. Or you see, before 2000, we have received a lot of Nobel prizes, even in science, physics. Then even medicine, we got Nobel prize. But after that, the counts becomes very low, or even some years we have registered with zero count. So here, as a number one populated country in the world, we are in a position to compete the entire world in the aspect of research and innovation. You see, all the research and innovations are in the hands of developed countries, but we are going forward in all aspects. Even we have sent a satellite or some kind of spacecraft to moon. In that way, we are marching towards excellence in all aspects. But in research, we are in third position in the world, I think, if my data is correct. So the number one position is gained by the US. They are just in 30 crores of population. But what about but what about our status in the global arena? That is very, very less. So the programs like this definitely shapes you and guides you to do excel in your research. So in this way, I am very much thankful to Kavya and all the resource person who have acted and given a session in these 6 days. Okay, so dear learners, you have a great space in front of you, and if you open your mind and if you search the problems in your real time areas apart from Google, and you see one student told that, sir, for Mada Pida Guru Devam for us, that's before AI period. He said, Mada Pida Guru Google is our Devam. Now, if you ask anybody, they may add with Mada, Pida, Guru, Google, or AI is our Daivam. Okay, something like. So we always look our problem in this kind of resource or tools. or internet, definitely we can't get a real problem. So if you take a real problem and if you work for solution towards the real problem, definitely your research article gets a highly valued one. And once if you get into this, definitely your research will be the real one, and definitely you will get a chance of publishing it. And the program or expert like this definitely will guide you to publish your articles in a proper journals. So in this way, I wish everyone, and you have a great learning today. Wish you all the very best, and thank you for this opportunity, Mr. Kavya, and hearty wishes to today's resource person and all the participants. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your kind words and for setting the tone for today's session. It's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Babu Balraj, our resource person for this session on Publish with Purpose, Crafting High Impact Research and Avoiding Predatory Indexing. Dr. Babu Balraj currently serves as managing editor of the International Research Journal of Multidisciplinary Technovation, a Scopus Index journal, and is an associate professor of physics at Vailtech Rangarajan Dr. Shakuntala R&D Institute of Science and Technology, Chennai. His academic journey reflects a strong engagement with both research and scholarly publishing. In addition to his teaching role, he serves as an ambassador for Crossref, contributing to initiatives that promote transparency, research integrity, and responsible publishing practices. With prior academic and research experience as an associate professor at KPR Institute of Engineering and Technology and as a postdoctoral researcher at National Chung Sing University, Dr. Balraj brings a global interdisciplinary perspective to research dissemination. His scholarly contributions are well recognized with over 1,500 citations, an H index of 24, and an I index of 47, reflecting sustained research impact. In a time when researchers face increasing pressure to publish, alongside the growing challenge of predatory journals and misleading indexing claims, today's session promises to offer timely and practical insights into publishing with purpose and integrity. In today's competitively increasing academic landscape, where a significant proportion of research submissions are declined even before entering peer review, understanding the mechanics of scholarly publishing has become essential. In this session, Dr. Babu Balraj will share an editor endorsed framework known as the SPET model, designed to improve publication success rates. The session will highlight the importance of structuring research papers using the IMRB format, which is Introduction, Methodology, Results, and Discussion, emphasizing how clarity and organization directly influence editorial decisions. Dr. Balraj will also discuss the role of clear writing, visual presentation, and logical flow, especially given the limited time editors often spend on initial manuscript screening. Further, the session will address the value of rigorous self review, including attention to language, data accuracy, ethical transparency, and citation integrity. Finally, we believe that participants will gain practical guidance on identifying suitable journals and recognizing that predatory journals are different from and how to differentiate them from the rest. And for this, Sir has also kindly agreed to engage with the participants during the concluding segment of the session by addressing all the questions posed by the participants. So we encourage all participants to make the most of this opportunity by sharing their queries and reflections in the chat box as and when you have one. With this, I'm delighted to welcome Sir and look forward to take over the session from now. So you're on mute. Sir, you're on mute.
Very good evening to everyone. Thank you for the introduction. Very good evening to everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Kavya Kadireshan and your team, and today session chair Dr. VP Nalasamy for providing me this opportunity. So today we are going to discuss about the topic which is very important. So publishing with purpose, crafting high impact research. So not normal research, high impact research. How we can publish our articles in high impact articles. So why publishing is Let's go to the session. Why publishing our research is very important? Because to improve
Sir,
the...
sorry to interrupt. Can you go on full screen mode, sir?
Yes, just a moment.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So why publishing is very important? Because to improve our knowledge, to gain reputation among our peers as well as in the international scientific community, to get promotion, to get funding, or to get awards, we need publications. The very shorter span of time, NIRF is going to make a big change between Scopus and Web of Science articles, because previously they were providing equal weightage to both Scopus and Web of Science, but in the near future they are going to give more weightage to the Web of Science journals. As well as in the higher education institutions, already in many higher education institutions in India are forcing, are encouraging their scholars as well as faculty members to publish at least one Web of Science articles per year and their name for their minimum compliance. So publishing article in academic area is very, very important and becomes mandatory. But the publication reality is totally different. 70% of the papers are rejected before peer review. Only 1 in 4 papers are accepted in mid-tier journal. So we can rank the journal according to their quartile, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, as well as in the Scopus, as well as in the Web of Science, they have this ranking. So even in the Scopus Q3, Q4 ranking also, the acceptance rate is very, very low. So we have one journal called the Asian Journal of Interdisciplinary Research, which is a Scopus Index Social Science Journal, where currently the rejection rate is 97%. Initial rejection rate we maintain is 97%. So the only only 4 papers which passes the initial evaluation accepted in mid-tier journal. All other papers are rejected. Sometimes what happens in journals, once we communicate the papers, our paper will be in under review for longer time, or even though they receive the reviewer comments, the decision will be in pending for longer time. If you are submitting our article through online submission platform, we can able to view the status of our article. But if you are sending article through email, if the journal doesn't have an online submission platform, it is very difficult to follow the status of our journal. But publication is very essential for our career advancement. So if you have a good research, if you are a good researcher, you are doing a good research, experimental or theoretical, but if you have a poor writing skill, definitely it will lead to rejection, either in the initial screening or in the post rejection. So what are the common publishing challenges faced by our Indian linguistic people or language researchers? Finding the right journal. So whenever you are sending article to some journal, what will be the mail you will be receiving? That your article does not meet the standards of our journal, or your article it is out of our journal scope, or we are receiving too many articles, so we are unable to accept your article at this moment. So like that, we will receive emails. Second, structuring the paper. So when it becomes structuring the paper, we have observed many of the scholars, faculty members, or scholars in the English literature, English, especially in the field of English, they are not reading author instructions properly. They are just submitting the blind manuscript. So whenever you are submitting a manuscript to some particular journal, if you take abstract, there are different kinds of abstracts. If you take an article, there are different kinds of article. If you take a review, for review, there will be a different format, research article, opinion, perspective, short communication, letters. So there are variety of articles. What we generally know about is only research articles, and people believe in literature, they cannot publish review articles, but of course there are many Web of Science indexed literature review, literature related review journals are also exist. So structuring the paper effectively, many people do not know how to structure their paper for high quality journals. So what happens when we send the manuscript to the journal? If the manuscript does not format according to the journal template, editors will not, majority of the journal editors, what I'm asking, I'm saying is high quality journal. When you go for Web of Science or Scopus Q2, Q3, majority of the Scopus journals, when we submit our manuscript, which is not coupled with author instructions, for majority of the times, they don't send any email. Simply, they will reject or they will have a common template. With the common template, they will reject our manuscript. So, structuring the paper in an effective manner is very, very important. It plays a crucial role in your manuscript acceptance. Writing clearly in English without with repetitive. Some people will write with repetitive sentences, prepositions, articles, combining past tense, present tense, and other tenses. So it will also make the article into will low value. The fourth point, very important point, addressing the reviewer comments. So once we submit the manuscript process the initial evaluation. We receive the comments from the reviewers. Either it may be a minor revision comments or it may be a major revision comments. Once we receive the reviewer comments, even after getting a revision also, manuscript gets rejected. Even at the final moment before publication also, manuscript gets rejected. That's a different story. But during the reviewer comments in the revision stage also, manuscript gets rejected. Why it is getting rejected? We need to analyze. So we need to understand the rejection reasons, either for preliminary or for post preliminary. So making your stand researcher. So how to write effective article, how to structure the manuscript, how to find the right journal, how to find the right audience, how to effectively address the reviewer comment, so that your paper can stand out and can be easily accepted by the journal. So that today we are going to discuss. So today I'm going to discuss about the SPET framework. In SPET framework, we are going to discuss IMRD format. So SPET is one of the editor-approved system for publication success. So here the S stands for strategic planning, P stands for precise execution, E stands for effective evaluation, the last T stands for thorough tracking. So if you follow this SPET framework, the ratio for your article acceptance will be very, very high. So first of all, the strategic planning is key components, research question definitions. So you need to identify what is the research problem already, what is the problem already existed. So what your research article going to solve that problem. So what are all the methods, techniques, or some experimental procedures you are going to do and solve the issue, which is very, very crucial. When you go for lower impact factor journal, when you go for higher impact factor journal, the main difference between the impact factor is your research problem. If your research problem is unique and it's a current issue, then your article will be considered with very high impact factor. If your research problem is already discussed or already published by many researchers, it will not be considered by high impact articles. So whenever you are formulating your research problem, you should be very, very careful. So here I give you some suggestion. Majority of the language researchers do not read articles from elsewhere, Sage, Taylor and Francis, Springer, De Gruyter. There are many other journals like Cambridge Press. There is a Cambridge Press, Oxford Press, and Brill publications. So what we people are doing is we are only focusing on taking a tiny proportion of the journals where your colleagues or other people have published, and we are pushing our articles only to those journals. So my suggestion is, if you do not have access to elsewhere, just go and enter your details, register your details in all English and as well as education related journals in elsewhere, as well as Springer, Sage. Register your details. At the end, they will have an option whether you are willing to serve as a reviewer. They will ask you. Just click on that tab. Once you click on the tab, if you register your details on at least 10 to 15 journals in Web of Science journals, what will happen? After some time, they will send review, they will send article for review. If you complete the review within a stipulated time, your credit points will increase in the journal. When you are submitting your article in the future to that particular journal, the consideration will be very, very high because you will not be a new researcher. All your details will be there. The editor will know already you are a potential reviewer and you have reviewed the related articles. Second thing, very important thing, if you review one article in elsewhere, you will get 1 month free Scopus access as well as 1 month free Science Direct access. So with that access, you can download as many articles you want in the elsewhere, and you can read it. The same way, if you review for Sage journal, there is a publisher called Sage. If you review for Sage journal, they will also provide you 1 month access. And there are also many open access journals. My suggestion is, Whenever you are writing a research, whenever you are writing an article or you are trying to formulate some research questions, never go for low quality journals or normal focus journals. Go for high quality journals like Q1 journals in Web of Science. So second thing, literature review. So once you formulated the your research question, you need to find out the literature previously, how many related papers has been published in high quality journals. So in English, majority of the times what we are seeing is people whenever they are writing some introduction or some literature review, they are always quoting the reference which is 1950, 1910. So 1970, which is almost 50 to 60 years or so. Whenever you are writing an article, at least 30% of your article references should be within 5 years. Let's assume this 2025. If you are writing an article, you should have at least 30% of the references from 2020 to 2025. Then only your article will be considered for review. If you are having 20 references, all references are outdated, then your article will be immediately rejected. Because being a publisher, we are receiving so many articles per year, 1,000, 2,000 articles. If you are going for a large publisher, they might have received more than 10,000, 20,000 articles. So they will not have a time to teach you or explain those things. So simply they will reject and they will consider the high quality articles. So literature review is one of the main important point. And when writing literature, majority of the people, what they do, they just copy paste abstract and they just paraphrase it. Don't do like that. You have to discuss the literature section. Do not provide descriptive mode. Do not provide the abstract of the previously published article. You have to discuss the literature review. And always at the introduction, when it comes to the introduction, you should include the research question in the introduction section. The third one, methodology section. So in the methodology section, we need to include the what kind of methods. If it is a question survey or if it is a review article or if it is a theoretical framework, we need to mention the method and tools we are going to use. Like if it is SPSS tools or some other tools, if you are using, we have to mention it. Or if you are using some instruments for teaching related paper management manuscripts, you have to mention the tool you are using. The third one, timeline development. The final one, sorry. The second one, data collection. Systematic gathering of relevant information, data collections. So in data collection is also very, very important. We are sending article to Web of Science journals. So we are taking only 100 or 150 samples in Tamil Nadu, and if you write the total, if you cover the total India, it's not right. So also when you are writing an article to the international journal, you should show diversity, at least South India, North India. If you are sending to regional journal, also you should show diversity. Do not take data from only one state or only one district. Some people will write district. So if you are writing the details from district in the introduction or sorry, in the abstract or the title, your manuscript will not be accepted. So the diversity should be very, very high. So experimentation, conduct experiments following established protocols. If you are writing a review article, you should go for Prisma flowchart. Without Prisma flowchart, you cannot write review articles. So there are many other methods. The Prisma is strongly recommended. Likewise, if you are having in a data collection, if you are having small samples, if you are having a diverse sample, then the statistical methods will be different. So you need to conduct experiments establishing those following protocols. So implement validation and verification checking. You have to check the data already you have taken and what you have written in the abstract as well as in the result and discussion section. So maintain detailed records of all procedures. So now it becomes a trend. Previously, when I was publishing paper in 2010, 2015, once I submit my manuscript, what will happen? It will be sent for review, and after review, we will get revision. Once you submit the revision, manuscript will be accepted. So now what they are doing, what journals are expecting, once the manuscript is accepted, they are asking for raw data. Let's say you have collected some data from different institutions. Once your manuscript is accepted, after acceptance, they will ask your data, the data you have collected, as well as participant consent, everything they will ask, or ethical approval statement they will ask. So you need to maintain detailed records of all the procedures, not just for publication, even after publication, after 5 years, after 10 years, they will ask these data. So you should keep these data in drive or some other safe place. Because in India, Every year the retractability is going very high. Some people may have done some legitimate research, but after publishing their manuscript, they may not have their data. So when there is a query from the journal editor, if they do not have their data, then their manuscript will be retracted. So analysis framework, effective evaluation. So that's what I'm talking about. Statistical analysis. So it's a descriptive, interferential, regression, depends upon the population, the method which you are using. You need to choose the statistical analysis method. Research interpretation and validity assessment. You should draw meaningful conclusion from your data. Do not, if you are including 3 or 4 tables and you are just providing the data or values which are already given in the table in the writing section, result and discussion section, then your manuscript will not be considered. So you need to interpret the data in an effective manner. Finally, once you complete everything, you just send your manuscript to your colleagues or friends for feedback. So now here I have given one AI tool, paper review.ai, which is developed by Stanford, one of the Stanford faculty members. So once you complete your manuscript, you just sit and check yourself whether this manuscript is perfectly formatted according to the journal, or if you are fully satisfied with the manuscript, or any improvements or clarity, any improvements are can be done in the manuscript. Any figures, any tables, extra tables can be included in the manuscript, and you have to probably send your manuscript to your colleagues. Just ask them whether the manuscript is good, whether the abstract is clear. They can able to understand the conclusion, whether the conclusion is effective or not. You should discuss with your colleagues. Just send the manuscript to your friends as well as colleagues. So this practice you all should follow. Let's say you do not have friends in English literature. Some people are working in science or social science. They have some good quality articles, FEAR, Scopus articles. Just send your manuscript to those people. Just ask them to provide general opinion about your article. They will give you some general opinion, which will also helpful for improving your research. So thorough tracking, regular assessment against. So the tracking, once you submit your manuscript, as soon as you receive the revision commands, you must submit your revisions within the stipulated time. So once you receive the review commands, the editor they will be notify you with all the revision commands as well as how the revised manuscript has to be uploaded in the submission portal. So generally, people will send the revised manuscript. It's not the way to send the manuscript to the journal. You have to provide separate response to reviewer comments. You have to highlight the changes you have made in the manuscript with some different color, or using the review option in the word, you should show the changes you have made in the manuscript to the reviewer. Sometimes the revised manuscript may send to the reviewer for second opinion. If they are not satisfied with the revision, they will reject the manuscript. If your manuscript has fulfilled all the revision comments that have been made by the reviewers, it can be accepted by editor also. So you should frequently monitor your manuscript status, like whether it's under review or it's under some people. Once you submit the manuscript to the journal, it will be under review, and sometimes if the decision will be in process, the status may be will be there for 2 months, 3 months. So if you don't receive email from the journal board member journal for 3 to 4 months, then you can send a polite email to the journal editor that I have submitted my manuscript like 3 or 6 months before, but so far no action has been taken on my manuscript. But you have to send polite email when you are writing your email. Do not send blind email to the editors. When you're writing email, you must be very respectful. Mention your manuscript ID and mention your manuscript title and your name and your details where you are working when the manuscript has been submitted. At least keep your signature at the bottom. Then you have to write a polite email stating that what you just want to know the status of your manuscript. So just so that you will get proper response. If you send a blind manuscript, nobody will respond. So it is IJMRD structure, the foundation of your paper. I is introduction, M is methodology, R stands for research, and D for discussion. So before going to this IMRD structure, I just want to discuss about article title and abstract. Why your article title is very, very important. Because when you go for Google Scholar, Scopus, or Web of Science, they don't take your full manuscript. They only consider the manuscript title, manuscript abstract, and keywords along with your name and application details. They do not include full manuscript on their indexing database. So the first impression is the best impression, we all know. So the title should be very catchy. It should attract readers as well as editors. It should stand out from the existing titles. Let's assume you are publishing some article in some Scopus journal. Your article resembles the similar title which has been already published. So those already published article has some 100 or 200 citations. So even though you publish your article in a similar title, your article will never gain attraction or will never attract readers as well as citations. So your title should stand out from the existing research articles. So which is very, very important, and it should convey you convey your research in a line or two line. So title is very, very important. It used to increase your citation impact as well as based on your title, readers for your article will also improve, as well as in the initial evaluation, editors will look only into your article title, article abstract. If they are satisfied with your title and abstract, then only they will go for introduction and the full manuscript. So which is very, very important. Here I have given the golden rule. If you can't explain your article in one sentence, your title won't do it either. So you have to start your title with clarity. Even people who do not belong to your domain should also understand your title. So you should format a title like that. So for this, I give you some suggestion. Just go to some high impact journals. Uh, so I think many of you might not have an idea about Q1, Q2 journals. What are all the journals listed in Web of Science as well as Scopus? So later I will share the details, Q1, Q2 journal details to ma'am, Kavya ma'am, and you can get it. So just go to the high impact vector journals where just to see the papers published in the last 1 year or last 6 months. You can get idea. Or search related the topic which you are doing your research. You will get idea about the title. So how you can coin your title, how your title can be more effective for readers. You can modify accordingly. So the title should be very, very important. Avoid keyword like titles. So you should have a proper grammar flow. So articles, propositions. So repetitive terms should not be there. And regarding article title, it should not be too long or it should not be too short like keywords. It should be optimum length. So my suggestion is maintain the article title between 12 to 16 words. So Nature, Humanities and Social Sciences is one of the top Q1 journal in social science category where they have mentioned the maximum title can be only 15 words. So if you are keeping too long title, readers as well as editors will not have an interest on your article. If you are having a very short title, just with Google indexing also it will create a problem. So it will never gain attraction among the readers. So title is very important. Coin your title between 12 to 16 words. Also, you can go for journal specific considerations. Just if you are submitting article to some particular journal, once you complete your manuscript, just choose 3 to 5 journals related to the topic. Do not go for 10 or 15 journals. Before writing your article, you have to fix your journal. Once you write your article, you should not go for the journal. Before writing your article, you should fix the journal. In which journal you are going to publish. There might be, if you are, let's say, you are writing in language teaching, there must be at least 3 to 4 standard journals. You have to go download and read the recent articles, even though it's a subscription journals. Definitely, there might be some open access journals or some open access articles in the research gate or some social platform. Just read it and see how they have written their article, and you have to format according to the journal template and upload it. So just do not go for multiple journals. Before writing the article, you need to fix the journal. After writing the manuscript, you should not fix the journal. So this is far most important. So there are three kinds of journal, three kinds of article titles. One is declarative, second one is descriptive, the third one is question-based title. So I can choose which one will be optimum for your research. And also, before submitting to the journal, just go to the journal, read the articles, and see how the title has been coined. Then you make it according to it. So when you're writing for global audience, you have to use the terminology like universal, like standard English. However, you should avoid regional acronyms. So, or else you can, instead of mentioning East Asia, Europe, you can mention cross-national analysis or cross-country analysis. So when writing for global audience, you should be very careful with your terminology. When you're writing for regional audience also, you should be very careful. And once you are writing article to, article on some Indian regional basis study, you should not submit that article to European journal. So you have to finish it. That's what I'm saying. Before writing your article, you have to fix the journals, 3 to 5 journals for your article, and you have to write according to the journal standard. So if it is a regional audience, you have to include geographical specificity in title, and avoid different naming like Vikshit Bharat, Vya Vikshit Bharat, Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. If you put those kind of titles in your manuscript, they will not be considered. Even though it's a regional journal, Indian journal, definitely it will not be considered. So in the abstract as or in the result discussion section, method section, you can mention those things. But when it comes to article title, it should be very unique. It should be more general. Then only it will attract audience from all over the world. Our aim is not only publishing the manuscript. Our article should be read by authors all around the world, and we should get more citations. Nowadays, publishing manuscript is one factor, whereas if your article gains more number of citations, actually that will be the real impact. So these are the core principles to choose the article title. You should be specific, use active voice, use keywords, important keywords, and state the scope. So very simple. If you write the article title, you should be understandable by the people who are not from your domain. So it should be like that. So common mistakes to avoid. So it should not be overly broad. A study of education. Here you can see digital literacy programs in rural secondary education. A study of education, it looks more general. So do not use more general terms. So unnecessary words, and when you write articles, abbreviations, when it comes to abbreviations, do not use abbreviations on your journal article title. If you use abbreviations in your manuscript for the first time, you have to provide full form. If you are using IoT, Internet of Things, if I am using AI in my manuscript, in the introduction, if I am writing about AI, I need to write artificial intelligence. When you are using acronym for the first time in your manuscript, you need to provide their full form. Or else what you can do is, at the end of the manuscript, you can provide list of abbreviations where at the end of the manuscript, you can provide list of abbreviations and you can provide. But generally, I recommend do not include list of abbreviations at the end. Whenever you are writing some abbreviations in your manuscript for the first time, provide full form. The second important thing, abstract. Once your title is okay, the second very important thing is abstract. So abstract, whenever you are writing abstract, the abstract should be within at least 200 to 250 words, not below 200. Generally, if 150 depends on the journal, but my suggestion, at least your article title should be 200 to 250 words. Don't go beyond 250 words. It should be between 200 to 250. In the same way, your conclusion should be also between 200 to 250, not be 100 or 150. Should also be 200 to 250. So what is the difference between abstract and conclusion? Why we are writing two parts? Because in the abstract, if someone reads your article, they will have an idea. They should have an idea about the outline of your research, what you have done in the manuscript. So we are providing only the outline of our research in the abstract. Whereas when it comes to conclusion, we are going to explain the outcome of our research. In the abstract, we are providing only the outline, whereas in the conclusion, we are going to provide the outcome of our research. Both are totally different. So it should be totally different. Do not confuse with abstract or conclusion. Conclusion should be more outcome, basically. It should be more outcome. So when writing abstract, For the first 2 lines, you should write about the small introduction about the topic or importance about the topic. Then you should write about the statement about the research gap. So what is the research gap already existing? Then what is the research method you are going to apply for the research gap? Finally, contribution to the field, what you are going to deliver, through the manuscript you have to mention. Let's say you are taking some review article, you have to mention the total number of articles taken for the review and what are all the databases, softwares you have used, you have to mention. Why that review is very much needed, you have to mention. If you are taking some survey kind of things, you have to mention about the total number of participants, whether it's a male, total number of males, females, where it has been done, everything has to be mentioned in the abstract. So if someone reads your abstract, they should understand outline of your research. When it comes to theoretical study or literature study, it should also convey the same. So this is regarding abstract. Once you complete your abstract, just go for keywords. The keywords and keywords should be matched with your research abstract as well as your title. Because when databases indexing your manuscript, they will index your only title, abstract, and keywords. So you should be very cautious about these 3 things, which is very important. So now we go for IMRD structure. So the structure in which we have to format our manuscript to the journal. Introduction section elements. So problem statement, significance, literature review, research gap, research question, and hypothesis. So for majority of the articles we received in English literature or English language teaching from Indian scholars, the major problem we see is whenever they are writing a manuscript, in the introduction they have around 4 to 5 subsections. First thing. So when it comes to the introduction section, it should be only one section. It should be a single section. It may have 2 to 3 paragraphs, but it cannot have subsections. If your manuscript has a subsections, immediately your manuscript will get rejected. Nobody will consider your manuscript. That's why I'm suggesting just go to the Q1 SCA Web of Science journals and you have to read the articles, how the introduction has been written. So in the introduction section, generally how you have to write, I'll tell you in the simple manner. In the introduction, first you need to introduce more general introduction about the topic which you are going to discuss. The second thing, the problem existed in the literature. So what are all the problem existed in the literature? The third thing, what are all the manuscripts or previous work that has been done to rectify that problem? The fifth one, what is the problem statement still remaining in that issue, which is not resolved by anyone. We need to write that one. Then later at the end of the introduction section, please keep it in your mind. Always at the end of the introduction section, you should write the aim of your research, not more general introduction. Introduction should be at least 750 to 1000 words, not 250 words, 300 words. Because for abstract, we write 250 words. Because abstract is just an outline. For outline, we write 200 to 250 words. When it comes to the introduction, the reader should understand, the editor should understand, the audience should understand. So your introduction should be at least 750 to 1000 words. And the introduction should have at least, if you are writing introduction, it should have at least 12 to 15 references. Half of the references should be at least in the last 5 years, from 2020 to 2025. You can cite relevant articles. Some people say, sir, there is no article in my domain, there is no Scopus article in my domain, there is no Web of Science article in my domain, then you are doing wrong research. We are all not Einstein. You must go on, you must search. That's why I'm telling, instead of searching in Google, you have to go to the specific publisher or specific journal and you have to search. Then you will get related articles. So when it comes to the introduction, they have a 3 to 4 paragraphs. Do not write 1000 words, 1500 words as one paragraph. In academic writing, at least 200 to 250 words should be in a single paragraph. Not less than that, not more than that. So 3 to 4 paragraphs at the end of the introduction, always it should have the aim of the research. So keep it in your mind. Second thing, methodology. So when it comes to methodology, in language, whether it's a theoretical framework or review or experimental paper, I recommend all of you to draw some methodological framework for your research article. Some work flowchart for any article except if you are working on some literature, except literature for other domains, I strongly recommend you to include at least one methodological framework for your research. If you go to the computer science article, in all computer science article, they will have one methodological workflow. Without their article framework, they will not publish their article. So in English, when you go for high quality journals, in all journals, they will have one framework, methodological framework. So you should include one flowchart for your research, whether it's experimental, theoretical, or review. You should include one flowchart. Then you should have more detailed information about the data, survey questionnaires, how you have taken. And if you are taking survey from the people, you should include participant consent. Or if you are taking some literature studies, just refer the articles published in high impact factor journals and format accordingly. So the materials, tools, instruments you have used, step by step, we need to include. And data collection methods. And if you have used any software like SPSS or some other software, Origin, you have to mention all those tools in the methodological section. So which is very, very important. So when it comes to results, sorry, in the introduction section, I forgot to mention one thing. You can include the literature review section in the introduction, or else if you want to introduce the literature review section, separate section, you can have a section 2. There you can introduce literature review section. But if you are very strong, you are very confident about the literature review section, introduce a subsection, or else just merge the literature review with your introduction section. For majority of the papers in literature review, they simply paste the abstract or results which has been already published in the manuscript. It will have only the number of the paragraphs will be there. There won't be any connections. There won't be any discussions. With just abstract, we are not going to convey anything to the scientific society. So if you are not strong about we think you are not strong in the literature review discussion section, just include more general content and include literature review in your introduction section. So when it comes to results, you should include tables, figures, graphs, depend upon your research work, either for theoretical or experimental or review. You have to interpret the results. That if you provide 2 to 3 tables and if you just write the values, numerical values which has been already given in the table, or they have been already given in the figure, if you write only those contents, then definitely your manuscript will not be considered. So we have seen some papers. They will have a introduction for about 7 pages, literature review for about 5 pages, but their discussion will be only one paragraph, just 200 words. That too with a single introduction section. That's a single reference. So when it comes to research and section also, people when you go for research and section, it will be only 1 page, half page. No. Actually, in the manuscript, your research and section should be very large when compared to introduction and methods. Research and section should be very large. You should connect, you should discuss your research with the previously published articles. And for majority of the articles, social science as well as engineering, the references will end with literature review. After literature review or methodology section, there won't be any references. But actually, when it comes to research and discussion section, there you need to include more number of references and you have to discuss or correlate your research with the previously published articles. Then only your research will have high impact. If you do not have references in the research and discussion section, it will not even go for Scopus journal. So which is very, very important. And you are writing a research and discussion section. If it is a figure, you have to write the figure caption, table caption. Once you write that, you have to mention or cite those figures inside the manuscript. Just including the figure without citing the figure or table inside the manuscript will lead to rejection. So whenever you are whenever you are including some tables or figures, you must cite the table or figure inside the main text, which is very, very important. And in the introduction, generally, I do not recommend including figures. Introduction should be only content. You should not include any figures in the introduction section. Even in the methods also, you should not include in any figure except review article. If it is a review article, of course, you have to include Prisma flowchart. In the methodological section, you can include methodological framework, but do not include any result related images or graphs in the methodological section. So all you, so the article, if you are writing some article, you should have at least 3 to 4 figures. Some people will say, sir, I'm writing some research and I'm just comparing my research with the previously published articles which has been already published. Can I include the figures? Yes, you can include the figures which has been already published. If the article is open access, you need not to get permission from the publisher or author. Simply you can include the figure and you can cite the paper. That is enough. But if the paper is subscription based model, let's say elsewhere, majority of the journals are subscription based model. In the subscription elsewhere, Springer, Taylor and Francis, wherever you are seeing article, you can go there and you can get that image without any payment. You can include the manuscript in the include the figure in the manuscript, and where you have to mention copyright has been obtained from the elsewhere art, like that you have to mention. Even from the closed access journals also, you can include figures and tables. So this is for your information. Also in the research, you have to mention the achievement or the conclusion, the outcome you have achieved through your research. You have to highlight your research in the research section. So discussion, as already I have discussed, interpretation of the research in the context, comparison with the previous studies into mentioned, implication for theory and practice. So the limitation, regarding limitation and constraint for each and every article, there should be some limitation. So after conclusion section, try to include limitations for your research. Let's say you have taken only 150, 100 or 150 respondents from Tamil Nadu and you are concluding your research for all over India, you cannot conclude like that. So in the limitations you have mentioned, we have taken only tiny proportion of the samples. Like that, you have to mention the limitation of your research. Each and every research will have some limitations. So try to include limitations for your research at least for about 100 words, 100 to 150 words, not more than that. Future research directions is up to you. May include, some journals may recommend including future research directions, but some journals they do not recommend the authors to include it. So before going to the journal, just go to the journal and download some articles. Just have a look. If they have future research directions in their published articles, you can include, or else just exclude. So from here, I will start the actual session. So what editors or publisher will expect from the authors. So editors will spend only 5 to 7 minutes on analysis reading. So once your article has been issued to the journal, what they will do initially, it will be done plagiarism as well as AA checking. The plagiarism is below 20%. If the AA is below 20%, then article will be sent for review. If the AA is above 20%, it will be sent back to the author. If the article has a very high quality, it will be definitely sent back to the author. Authors will be asked to reduce the AA content. Or if the AA content has false positive or false negative, if the author has already given the AA tool acknowledgement in their manuscript section, it will be considered. It will be sent for review. So what we see as an editor, once we receive the articles, we see the manuscript title, whether it's scope with the current trend. Tick. Second, we check the abstract, whether it outlines the research work. They have given all the details, it explains all the details what they have done in the manuscript. Okay. Then we can go for the introduction section. If the manuscript doesn't have enough citations in the introduction section, then immediately we will reject the manuscript. First thing. Second thing, we will go for reference section. At last, we go for reference section. If the references having, majority of the references having references old, like 20 years, 30 years old. More than 50% of the references are very old, then your manuscript will be rejected. If majority of our manuscript references are non-indexed journals, from non-indexed journals, non-Scopus, non-Web of Science, then your manuscript will be rejected. If your reference reflects the quality of your research, this is one of the very important point. Your reference reflects the quality of your research. If you are citing references which are 20 years, 30 years old, then editors will simply assume your research is also very old, it's outdated. They will not consider. First thing. Second thing, if your references, more than 50% of the references are non-indexed journals, then your article should also go for non-indexed journals, not in indexed journals. Why? Because when go for Scopus as well as Web of Science, they have some certain standards for publishers. If they publish articles in low quality standards, what will happen after sometimes the journal will be in radar, ILGAR will be reevaluated. Sometimes it will be de-indexed. So it will happen. So which is very, very important. References are very important. So once we receive the manuscript will be set for the review. Reviewers may give minor revision or major revision. It totally depends upon the manuscript quality as well as reviewer perspective. So before submitting your manuscript to any journal, you need to check whether your article has high quality figures. It should have at least 300 dpi resolution. Authorship, if you convert your article Word document into PDF, you should be able to view the figure quality. You should be able to see the figure caption, XY labels, and if you have mentioned anything inside the figure, you should be able to view. Label everything. So if there is a figure table, you should label all the tables and figures, and you should cite them in the manuscript without fail. Don't overload with the data. So if you include the data, if you have too many data regarding your research, just move them to the supplementary section. Whenever you are writing a manuscript, if you have too many data, you can keep only the important data in your manuscript. The rest of the data, you can keep it as a supplementary file, separate Word document. And when you are submitting your article to the journal, you can give it as a supplementary file. Or if you are having some questionnaire regarding your research, if you are having questionnaire, you can also submit that questionnaire as a supplementary information of our journal. So follow IMRD structure: introduction, methods, research and discussion, and finally conclusion. No subsections in the introduction. Should be very, very clear. And regarding abstract and conclusion, it should be only one paragraph. No 2-3 paragraphs should not be there. Abstract should be one single paragraph. Conclusion should be single paragraph. So once you complete the manuscript, just check with your colleagues, send it to your collaborators. Take a printout, hard copy printout, read line by yourself, and see what are all if you find any mistakes or there are any improvements you have to be done, just do it. Cross-check the numerical data, recheck the calculations, ensure consistency, and check citation sources. So it is very important. So whenever you are writing an article, do not ask ChatGPT or other AI tool to generate references. If you ask ChatGPT to write some content, it will create some references which is not existing in the literature. So sometimes when we receive papers, there might be 20 or 30 references. When we check those references, those references will never exist in the literature. So when you ask ChatGPT, it will always create fabricated references which is not existed. So once you complete your manuscript, majority of the language journals will ask for APA format. In APA, you need to cite the author name and year inside the manuscript. Once you complete your manuscript, just check whether all the references has been properly cited inside the manuscript. Also, you just check all the cited references inside the manuscript. You have given source in the reference section. If it mismatch, then there will be a problem. Even after acceptance, your article will be rejected or retracted. Very recently, just because of AI reference fabricated issue, many articles from IEEE as well as conference proceedings has been retracted. So I'm going to write an article and going to include only 20 to 25 references. If you spend 10 to 15 minutes, simply you can verify all the references. So my suggestion, just verify the references you provided at the end of the reference section. Also, the citations you have given in the main text. So find out the right audience, right place, right journal. So if you go to the journal elsewhere at Springer, other publishers, in the journal homepage itself, they might have given the total articles published. Just you go to the Scopus where you can check the total number of articles published in the particular journal. I'll give you a hint. If the journal is publishing only 30 to 40 articles per year, if you are submitting on articles, the acceptance will be very likely low. If the article has more number of articles or more issues, like bi-monthly, bi-weekly, if you submit your article to those kind of journals, your article acceptance will be very, very high. Also, when you go to journal homepage, there they have listed the details. You can see all the details like time to first decision, time to first acceptance or first revision, time to publication after acceptance. In elsewhere on all the journals, you can see the details. So before submitting your article, or you can download few of the articles submitted in the manuscript. In each and all the published articles, you can see the received date, accepted date, published date. With that, you can just assume how many months or how many months the journal is actually taking to publish a paper. If you just read 4 to 5 articles, you can assume how many months it will take. So if you find the right journal, just to see the readers, what are readers from which countries most of the readers journal has. So in elsewhere they might have listed the majority of the journal, they might have listed the readers. So if the readers are from some in India, if you are writing article about Indian context, then you can go for the particular journal. If readers are more from Chinese or from Europe, then I suggest you not to go for those kind of journals. So that's why before writing your article, you should choose the journal. Once you choose 3 to 5 journals related to the topic, then you have to write according to the journal standard. And just go to the Scopus as well as Web of Science page. In Scopus, if you go and check the Scopus page, where you can find the list of Scopus indexed journals. So there might be a list Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, where you can see the journal total number of papers published in the last year. So if the number of publications are very high, and if your matches with the journal aim and scope, then you can go for it. And also, just once you write the manuscript, you can see whether your manuscript fit for high impact factor or low impact factor. So if you are planning for some small impact factor, like a Q2 or Q3 journal, just go to the journal and read some of the articles. Try to cite at least 1 or 2 articles from the particular journal. So it is my suggestion. Whenever you are submitting your articles to some publishers, try to cite at least 1 or 2 relevant articles in your relevant articles from their journal, published articles. It should be at least 3 years, last 3 years, 2023 to 2025. Should be between 3 years, not before that. So try at least 1 or 2 articles. Then, as I said, there are many publishers. So what will happen if you take elsewhere? I'm a physicist. There are some famous journals in elsewhere. Those journals will receive 10,000, 20,000 submissions per month from our people. But when we go for different publisher like Sage or Oxford, Cambridge, they receive only 500 articles, 300 articles per year, because we only send articles to well-known publishers. There are many other publishers, so you need to identify the journal in which your manuscript can be accepted with high possibility. So just go for different publishers. You should always have a look at different publishers. So selecting the right journal for if you want to publish your article for Q1 journal, definitely at least will take 4 to 6 months dedicated time. Otherwise, your article will not be accepted. So if you have a Scopus article in your profile, you can go for Web of Science, ESCA or SSCA. So if you do not have Web of Science or Scopus articles, Web of Science articles so far, my suggestion is I recommend you to go for Q4 AHSC, Arts and Humanities Citation Index or Social Sciences Index journal. Publish 1 or 2 articles, then you can go for very high impact factor. Because when you submit your manuscript to very high impact factor, they will look for author reputation. How many publications the author has published in a specific topic. If you do not have expertise in the particular topic, which means high number of publications, then your article lead to rejection. So from small impact factor, you can publish this year. Let's say many of you has no publication in Scopus I have seen. So you can go for Scopus, whether it's a Q3 or Q4 journal, just go for standard journal. Then you can go for Web of Science ESCA journal. Then go for Web of Science SSCA journal Q4, Q3. So slowly you can elevate your quality. So these are the checklists before submission. Manuscript formatted to the requirements. Reference should be in correct style. Figures and tables should be included, and make sure all the figures have same size. Abstract and keyword should be optimized. Cover letter customized. So whenever you are submitting an article, apart from the manuscript, you should submit extra few things. The first thing, cover letter. Cover letter must be submitted using your institution letterhead, or you can create letterhead of your own with your institution logo. If you are submitting your article to quality journal, you must have a cover letter on your letterhead, faculty letterhead. And you have to unlike a normal cover letter, you have to mention the highlights of your research. Just 4 lines, key points of your research, key points of my this paper, or highlights of my research work, this paper. Like that you can mention, and you can provide at least 4 to 5 key points. So when editor read the cover letter, he might take interest. Okay, these are all the important points, the important aspects they have included in their manuscript. So they will send it for review. So cover letter must be included, and make sure you have included conflict of interest statement, acknowledgement, and author contribution statement. If you just type author contribution statement in Google, it will take you to elsewhere page, science page, where you can see the author contribution statement, how to write. So you need to include author contribution statement. If you are taking survey using questionnaire, you should include informed consent. Human participants, you should include ethics approval statement. So before submitting, these are the important parameters you need to include apart from your manuscript. Some journals, they may ask you to provide list of recommended reviewers. Some journals, they will send reviewers by their own. So if the journal is asking for reviewers, you can provide reviewers by your own. So my suggestion is just go to the Google, type your article title, related topic, the 2025 2024. You might see the authors has published the related articles in your domain. You can provide their name. If you provide people from Gulf as well as in Africa, you might get positive opinion, a positive review about your manuscript. Or else you can see the references you have included in the manuscript, because I am telling at least you should include 50% of the references in the last 5 years. So in the references, definitely it must be related to your topic. You can go to that articles and you can provide those authors as a reviewers for your article. So when they review your article, they will see, okay, this fellow cited my article, like that thing, and they will consider your article for publication. So cover letter is very, very important. Whenever you are writing cover letter, you should include the highlights of your research. It should be in your letterhead. Finally, if you are using AI tool, please include AI acknowledgement in your manuscript, because no publisher will blindly send manuscript to the reviewers. Initially, all the manuscript will be checked for AI as well as similarity. What we do is, once we write manuscript using AI, we use paraphrasing tool, and we paraphrase it and we reduce the AI content and we submit it to the manuscript. But when it comes to the journal, they keep your manuscript for 2 to 3 months. After 2 months, what will happen? The AI software will get upgraded and all your AI content will again reappear. So it will show very high AI content again. So it will lead to rejection. After 2 or 3 months later, it will lead to rejection. But if you include AI tool acknowledgement in your manuscript, it will be considered. At least somewhat they will consider. Partly or else they will ask you to revise the manuscript according to their journal template. So these are now the second section, legitimate scholarly indexing databases. So these are the legitimate scholarly indexing databases. Clarivate Analytics Web of Science. So second one is Elsewhere, PubMed, which is for health sciences, Cabell's Directory. So the Cabell's Directory, they maintain both blacklisted journals and whitelisted journals. And very importantly, DOAJ maintains whitelisted journals. So if you go to Scopus or Web of Science database, they will maintain DOAJ listed journals on their database, because the journal is listed in DOAJ. It's very reputable. Even though it's not indexed in Scopus or Web of Science, near future definitely it will be indexed in Scopus. And the COPE, Committee on Publication Ethics, the worldwide Committee on the Publication Ethics, COPE, actually they formulate research ethics and other policies for the institutions as well as for the governments, also for publishers. So in the worldwide, all the research organizations follow the policies which is formulated by COPE. So we have one journal called IJPAFS in sports. In India, we are the only COPE member in sports. We got it after 5 years study. So we have UGC CAR list. Due to some issues, it has been discontinued, and there are some other indexing databases. The main indexing databases are two: Clarivate Analytics Web of Science. The second one is Scopus. So, first, the word citation index is coined by Dr. Eugene Garfield. Actually, he is American linguistics, not from science background. He is from linguistic background. So, he is the founder for Institute for Scientific Information. He published his first paper on citation index on 1954 in the journal Science. Science is a very reputable journal. So, he introduced the concept of indexing and scientific and bibliometric databases. So, in 1964, Science Citation Index has been introduced. In 1973, Social Sciences Citation Index has been introduced. In 1706, Journal Citation Reports has been introduced. So when it comes to very new researchers, even for established researchers, for many of them they have doubt that whenever they talk about Scopus, how many impact factor the journal has. So here I want to clarify one thing: Scopus doesn't have an impact factor. Only Web of Science has an impact factor. When it comes to Scopus, it's a single indexing body. It's a single indexing body. When it comes to Web of Science, it's like an umbrella. If you take Science Citation Index, for engineering, science, medical, all these contents will be indexed in Science Citation Index. When it comes to language, literature, social sciences, management, archaeology, art, drawing, it comes under Social Sciences Citation Index as well as Arts and Humanities Citation Index. When it comes to Scopus, it's a single database. It indexes data from all the subject, irrespective of subject. It will include all the data, index all the data. So Scopus doesn't have a impact factor. Before Scopus, for long time back, Web of Science has been introduced. First name is ISI, Institute for Scientific Information. Only in 2004 only Scopus has been introduced. So when it comes to Social Sciences Citation Index, Arts and Humanities Citation Index, both are important because all social sciences, humanities, art subject will be indexed under these citation indexes. So in 1976, Journal Citation Report (JCR), which is nothing but impact factor, has been released. Before Google era, they were distributing the SCA, SSCA disk through CDs or floppy disk. After the Google era, now we have online access to all the indexing databases. So currently, there is around 33,000 journals, books, and conference proceedings are there in Web of Science. So now the Web of Science is owned by a company called Clarivate Analytics. So Scopus is a single database, whereas Web of Science is a collection of databases for different subjects. Scopus will index data, the subject, irrespective of their subject, whereas the Web of Science will index data with respective subjects. For science, engineering, medicine, Science Citation Index. For arts, humanities, and social sciences, they have two indexes: Social Sciences Citation Index, Arts and Humanities Citation Index. When it comes to the impact factor, for Arts and Humanities Citation Index, it is not applicable. Why it is not applicable? If I am doing research on archaeology or some drawing or some other folklore, it won't attract many citations, just like our science research. So, for Arts and Humanities Citation Index, they are not given any impact factor. It's only an indexing. But for SSCA, there is an impact factor. So these are the Web of Science core collections. So Koreans, they have Korean journal database. Russians, they have Russian Science Citation Index. Brazilians have Silo Citation Index. Actually, in India, we tried to introduce Indian Science Citation Index, but nobody has taken any initiation. So other countries have their own citation index databases in their own languages. So all those citation indexes are also included in the Web of Science core collections. So recently, in the last 2 years back, Arab countries has raised some fund and they have introduced Arab Citation Index. So all the Arab research done in the Arab language will be indexed under Arab Citation Index, Arabian Citation Index. Sorry. So these are the Web of Science core collections. So apart from the journal, there are some other collections. For conference, there is a conference proceeding citation index. For books, there is a book citation index. Yes, here I want to tell one important thing. For when you are publishing your article to the journal, open access journal, they may cost very high APC. But when you go for book publishing or book chapter publishing, there is a publisher called IGA Global. In IGA Global, if you go to their website, if you search for book chapter, call for book chapter, there might be plenty of topics which might be listed on their website. So if you submit your proposal to those book chapters, if it is accepted, it will be published freely on their website, and later, after a few months, it will also be indexed in Scopus database. IGA Global. IGA Global. The company name is IGA Global. Later in the Google, you can check and you can submit your proposal. So previously, Web of Science has given direct indexing. If it is a science and engineering journal, they were giving science citation index directly to the journal. If it is a social science journal, they will be giving social science citation to the journal. If it is an arts and humanities journal, they will give arts and humanities citation index. So what happened? Some journals started misusing the indexing reputation. So they have introduced the new citation index called emerging sources citation index. So once we apply, journals apply for Web of Science indexing, they will not provide social sciences citation index or arts and humanities index to the journals. Initially, it will be in emerging sources citation index after evaluation. So these journals will be continuously monitored, and if they have gained reputation, diversity, citations later, after a year or after 5 years or after 10 years, these journals will be included in the Web of Science major category. Before that, it will be still listed in the ESA category. But what happened 2 years back, Web of Science also started providing impact factor to these ESA journals. These are called entry-level journals, ESE. Emerging sources. They are just emerging. They are not established. They are emerging. So Web of Science started providing impact factor to these journals also. So even the institutions, NIRF, are considering ESA indexed journals for promotion and other considerations. So in 2021, they have released a journal citation indicator. If the journal has citation, GSE journal citation indicator of 1 or above, you can go for the journal when it comes to quality article. When it comes to ESA journal, Emerging Sources Journal, it has to qualify 24 criteria that has been listed by the Web of Science. When it comes to major indexing, science, social sciences citation index, the journal has to qualify 28 citation criteria. So what is the 4 criteria? What is that important 4 criteria? Let's say I'm applying my journal to the Web of Science indexing. So all my editorial board members, all my editors should frequently publish articles in Web of Science journals. They should have reasonable Web of Science citations. All my authors, in the 2 years, next 2 years, I'm publishing 100 papers. At least 50% of the authors should already have their papers in Web of Science journals. Those authors should also have reasonable citations in Web of Science journals. Can you imagine how tough it is for the publishers to get their journal accepted in Web of Science? That's why they provide very high rejection rate. Otherwise, they cannot sustain in the database. Because every year, when it comes to Web of Science, the number of inclusion is becoming very low. The number of exclusion from the database is becoming very, very high. So Scopus is founded by Elsewhere in 2004. So it is abstract and citation database. Even Web of Science is also abstract and citation database. Scopus covers more than 36,000 data. It includes journals, books, conference proceedings. So Scopus is owned by Elsewhere, Science Direct. They have around more than 2,000 journals. For all those 2,000 journals, impact factor is given by Web of Science. So ranking of journals. So in both Web of Science and Scopus, there is a ranking Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So let's assume there is 100 articles, 100 journals. Top 25 journals will be Q1, Q2. Top 25 to 50 will be in Q2. 50 to 75 will come under Q3, and last 75 to 100 will come under Q4. So based on the citations, journals will be ranked on Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, based on journal citations. How many citations the journal is gaining every year. So when it comes to Web of Science impact factor and site score, there is only a small difference. When it comes to Web of Science, you can see the total number of articles published in the last 2 years divided by total number of total number of articles published in the last 2 years, where you can see the citations in the last 2 years. If you publish 100 articles in the last 2 years, if the 100 articles gains 100 citations, each article gains 1 citation, 100 divided by 100, the impact factor is 1. When it comes to they considered only the articles published in the last 2 years. When it comes to the Web of Science, here you can see number of citable items in 2019, 2020 citations. But when it comes to Scopus, instead of 2 years, they take 3 years, 2018 to 21. You can see here they have considered only 2 years. For the 2 years only, they will consider the total number of articles published in the journals, total number of citations obtained by those published articles. When it comes to Scopus, they will consider last 3-year publications. That's why publishers are focusing more foreign author papers or high quality papers. Why they are not accepting normal low quality articles or articles which does not attract international audience. Why I am telling geography, diversity, everything is important. Reference is important, because once you publish your paper, if your paper has more than 50% of very recent references, let's assume 24, 25, you have included at least 10 papers. If your articles get published, what will happen? Those authors will be notified. So they will come and see your paper. Oh, in this paper, my article has been cited. They will read your manuscript. Then your article has high chance of gaining citation. So that's why for publishers, gaining citation is very, very important to sustain in the system. If they want to go for Q1 journal, of course, the journal should have more number of citations. In that case, they have to maintain the quality. They cannot compromise on quality. So DOA, whenever you are publishing an article in some journal, make sure the journal has DOA number, and once your article is published, the DOA should be in active mode. If you click the DOA, again the article should reload. So nowadays, for indexing databases, publishers, societies, government funding agencies, if you are applying for funding in ICSSR, BST, GPT, whenever you are uploading your reports, you have to include the list of articles published in the journals, right, related to the project, where they will also ask for DOA number. DOA is a unique identification for each article, just like our Aadhaar. Each and every article will have a unique DOA number. So before publishing your article, once published, make sure your article has the active DOA. So these are the preservation databases. So every year in India, more than 1,000 journals, 1,000 journals are getting ISSN number. After a year, 2 years, they simply close the journal because they don't get enough paper. They don't earn so much money. It's totally based on financial model. So once the journal is gone, all the data published in the journal will also be gone. So these are the preservation databases. Once you publish your article in the journal, which has a preservation policy or preservation database number, even if the journal is not alive, all your articles will be preserved in these preservation databases where the scholars can access your article for lifetime. So these are some of the preservation databases. For all our journals, we have Portico preservation. We are already a member in Portico, so all our articles are already indexed in Portico preservation database. So these are the predatory indexing. ISI, so initially Institute for Scientific Information, later some scientific process created a website and they are using International Scientific Indexing, ISI, and IJRCS impact factor, site factor, Cosmos impact factor, scientific journal impact factor. All these impact factors are fake impact factors. In the world, only one database will provide impact factor, that is Web of Science. If the journal is not indexed in Web of Science, then you should never consider the journal. When it comes to Indian Journal of Science and Technology, they have mentioned a zoological record and they have mentioned their journal is indexed in Web of Science core collection. It is totally wrong. The journal either should be in Emerging Sources Citation Index, SSCI, Social Sciences Citation Index, or Arts and Humanities Citation Index. Other databases, if they are mentioning other indexing databases in their journal, it is wrong, totally wrong. So identifying related cloned scholarly publishing journals. So this is a website called Think Check Submit. Before submitting your article, you can visit this website and you can it will have a list of questionnaire. If you answer all the questionnaires, it will ask questions related to the journal you are going to submit, and finally it will give you the suggestion. Think Check Submit.org. So some of the important features of predatory journals, fake metrics, or nothing will be available on the website. So they don't check plagiarism, AI checking, nothing will be done. Fake over editorial board members. So there is a person called Ali Riza Kidari. In the Google, if you search, you can find this name. He belongs to California South University. Actually, such kind of university is not exist. Only on the online it is available. He is a board member, editorial board member, editor-in-chief for more than 100 journals. For information, all the journals are active only in India. No foreign journal, no foreign journals, he is a board member. Only in Indian journals, he is the editorial board member as well as editor-in-chief. So such university doesn't belong in USA. His profile is fake, totally fake, but he exists in the board member, editorial board in many journals, many Indian journals. So rapid publication without peer review, within 2 days, 3 days, your article will never get attraction. It's totally, you won't get citation attraction. Your article won't be read by international audience. Your profile. Whenever you are submitting your article to high-level article in the future, they won't consider your article. So non-professional, non-affiliated email addresses. If they use Gmail, Yahoo, you should never go to those channels. So each published article will have a unique DOA number. So after publication, you have to check. Always the DOA number will start with 10 point. But when it comes to predatory journals, they use different prefix. So International Journal for Legal and Research Analysis, which is already existing in India. Frequently, people are publishing paper in these research journals from India. Here you can see they have a DOA number starting from 07.2022. DOA number always starts with 10, but here it starts from 07, which means the DOA is fake, invalid DOA. They are using fake DOA and publishing articles. Those articles, this journal will never go to Scopus indexing. Even if you spend money publish, it's a waste of time and waste of money. And webology. So when go to the journal, when you are going for publication, do not rush. My simple suggestion is do not rush. Take time. Don't publish at the last moment. Whenever we are receiving requests that this month I need to submit my thesis. Within 2 weeks, I need to submit my thesis. Take time. Every day you should at least sit and work for at least 1 hour, 2 hours. Frequently, you have to work. There should be a continuous effort in your article. Within a week, within a 2 week, you cannot write article. So last year, what happened? There is a journal called Library Progress International. People from India, especially from Tamil Nadu, many people has published their article. More than 750 articles within a year. Whenever someone sent paper to the journal, within 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, paper got accepted. Paper indexed in Scopus also. But what happened after a year? It comes under radar. It will come under radar. The journal got re-evaluated. It is de-indexed. The total number of papers already published in the journal is also de-indexed. So the journal institution reputation will get damaged. Your own reputation will also get damaged. So people are paying too much money for publication. Even the money is also become invaluable. So once your paper is published, even though you retake the paper, still the paper will be deposited in Google and other indexing databases. So if you apply for some other journal, your paper will never get accepted. So whenever you are going to some journal, just go to the Scopus web page, see the number of articles already published by the journal. You see British Journal of Sports Medicine, Indian Journal of Science and Technology, I just compared. You can see the British Journal of Sports Medicine, every year they have published only, like some fixed articles, like 300. Whereas if you go to the Indian Journal of Science and Technology, suddenly they have jumped in 2014, they have jumped from 336 to 1,700, which means journal will lead to de-indexing. Also, the article will lead to de-indexing. So before submitting your article, you should be aware of it. You should go on, you should check yourself. People are writing research article and taking measurements for more than 6 months, 1 year, but they are not spending even a 1 hour, 2 hour to search for the journal credibility, whether it is indexed or non-indexed. whether the journal has rapid publication, more number of articles, whether they are accepting all kind of, all related, all irrespective of subjects, they publish all kind of articles. In Library Progress International, it's a library journal where you can see mathematics paper, medical paper, engineering paper, physics paper, all kinds of subject papers has been published. So this is cloned publisher. So every day I am receiving too many mails regarding this cloned publishers. So they will send mail like the journal indexed in Scopus, and here if you go to the contact page, they will not have their physical address. If the journal doesn't have a physical address, never go for the publication. Very simple manner. How to identify predatory publishers? How to identify hijacked journals? If they don't have a contact page, phone number, their physical address, never go for it. This is the legitimate journal for the legitimate journal, but this is a predatory journal. So these are all the mails, some of the mails I have received in this week. Within 48 hours, receiving the publication fee. Within 1 to 2 days, Scopus journal, Scopus active journal. So what people think, oh, within 2 days, we can publish. This year, one Scopus confirm, we can send. But you will never know, your article will never be indexed in Scopus database. So some journals will mislead the authors by including predatory indexing. So here this journal as mentioned, this journal is indexed in Web of Science Core Collection Emerging Sources Citation Index DOAJ. But if you go on searching the Web of Science master list, this journal is not there, which means they are faking the people. So if you are going for some journal, whether it's a Web of Science or Scopus, just go to Web of Science master list. If you search Web of Science master list in the Google, one column will appear. If you type ISSN number or journal title, if you search a journal, here at the bottom, the journal has to appear. If the data is invalid, then you can assume the journal is not in the Web of Science database. And also, it's very important when it comes to zoological record. Some journals claim their journal is indexed in Web of Science, and they mention zoological record. Do not go for zoological record journals. Once you publish your article in Web of Science journal or Scopus, your article should not remain in the journal website. That is not indexing. Your article has to be indexed in the respective databases. So here in the appraisal, in our institution, what we do, once we publish the articles, we have to go to the Scopus web page. My article indexing link, I have to include. I have to go to the Web of Science. I have to include the article indexing link from the Web of Science. If it's a zoological record, the article will not be included in the Scopus Web of Science database. So you should be aware of it. And if you go to Scopus page, source page, if you go to subject area, if you change the subject area, if you search for your subject, particular subject, language, teaching, education, social science, miscellaneous, or arts and humanities, miscellaneous, you can find a number of journals. If you just click the journal, you can see whether the journal is active or inactive, what are all the publications they have made, their history, then you can go for it. Just a moment. Here, whenever you are going to Scopus journal, some journals will display Scopus badge on their website, but you have to go to the Scopus page. Once you go to the Scopus page, here you can see coverage discontinued in the Scopus. So below the journal title, Scopus coverage year will be given. Then below the coverage year, if you find coverage discontinued in Scopus, means the journal has been discontinued from Scopus. And please keep it in your mind that once the journal is de-indexed from Scopus, it will never be again indexed in Scopus. So these are some of the journal finder tools, which is already given by the publishers. We go to the elsewhere, just type journal finder, elsewhere, Wiley, Springer, Taylor and Francis. There you can see, you can match the journal by using your article title or using your abstract. So there are in all journals, if you search, if you include your article details, article title, abstract, they will give you the list of journals, time to acceptance, first acceptance, time to first decision, time to publication, whether it's an open access journal or subscription based journal, all the details it will provide. So you have to go to the respective journal and you have to download and see what are all the quality, what are all the article published, and you have to check the quality of the article with your article. Then you have to go accordingly. Regarding Web of Science, if you go to the Web of Science master list, where at the bottom you can see match manuscript. Even at the web options also you can match your manuscript to the respective journal. So these are some of the leading publishers: Springer, Elsewhere. So BMC is a part of Springer. Taylor and Francis, Nature. Of course, Nature is now part of Springer Nature. Frontiers, Class 1, MDPA, Village. So these are the major publishers. So before publishing your article, just go to these major publisher websites and search for those ones. This is DOAJ, where you can find open access journals. Even the Scopus as well as SE journals are all the MDPA journals are open access journals. They are also indexed in SE as well as Scopus, many of the MDPA journals, some Springer journals and Elsewhere journals, all the open access journals. If it is listed in DOAJ, here you can read the articles for free of cost. This is for open dissertations. This is given by eBasco. So that's it. Thank you. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Thank you so much, sir, for that very
Oh.
detailed and amazing session. I'm sure that I have never attended a session with this much of details, starting from how to craft and moving on to identifying the indexes and about the citations, and everything was in depth. Thank you for covering everything, sir.
Okay,
Thank
you very much for the opportunity, and thank you for the audience for your kind attention.
You've done more than enough justice to this topic, sir. Now I'll open the session for Q&A. So dear participants, if you have any questions regarding the session, please do post them in the box, and a post poll is also being shared with you in the screen. I also request you to kindly fill in the poll.
Participants are free to ask the questions. நீங்க தமிழ்ல கேட்டாலும் பரவாயில்லை. எவ்வளவு கேள்வி கேட்க முடியுமோ கேளுங்க, எல்லாத்தையும் பதில் சொல்றேன்.
So while the participants get on with typing the questions, I have this question, sir. I see many people sending one manuscript to 10 journals at a time.
It's totally wrong, madam. We should not send like that.
So if one person is sending, I mean, if one accepts, the other declines. So it's like a win-win situation for them.
No, actually, you should not send. You should never send manuscript like that. See, you are sending the manuscript to some journal. Your manuscript has been accepted. In that case, you should immediately withdraw the manuscript from the submitted journal. Again, what will happen once you send withdrawal submission with the withdrawal email to the journal publisher? Definitely, they will check whether the manuscript has been already published or if you have any issue, real issue. Definitely, they will check. If they check for AA or similarity indexing. If they find out your article has been already published in some other journal, then definitely they will blacklist. In case of Elsewhere, if you are doing like that, whatever the manuscript you are submitting to Elsewhere journals, none of the journals will accept your manuscript. They will blacklist you. That's why whenever we are sending manuscript to the journal, in the cover letter, we are mentioning the manuscript has been not submitted elsewhere, will not be submitted to any journal till we receive the information from the journal editor.
True, sir. And I've recently been a reviewer for a journal from the TNF group. So it was put out in very block letters that the reviewer should not be using AI to generate the reports or give reviews. So have you come across anywhere, in your experience, where reviewers have
Madam, many of the, actually more than 30% of the reviewers, they use AI. Once they use AI, simply we can predict whether the review has been generated using AI or not. Again, we are telling you, once we receive your manuscript, simply just by looking at your manuscript, I can tell whether your manuscript has been written using AI or you have written by yourself. Not before checking your manuscript, no, checking in the AI. So you can use AI tools for polishing your content, but do not use AI to generate content. That is my suggestion.
Sure, sir. And one more thing, many PhD research scholars who are in their writing stage, they're very afraid of plagiarism. So what they do is, I've seen many people do this. So I'm bringing this up. There are many YouTube channels or forums where they share the keys of Turnitin plagiarism checkers of foreign universities, which are non-repository. sometimes their repository. And without knowing all this, many scholars will upload their documents, and sometimes it will all get flagged when they go for the actual plagiarism checking at the university. So what are your comments on this? Like,
Actually, if it is a non-repository, then there will be no issue. But if a repository, the document is submitted in the respective university, then the author has to send an email request to the university. The author has to ask the university to remove the data from the respective university database. Then only article will be considered.
So, but what do you
but
think?
But in Authenticate,
Happens,
actually, there is two versions of software. One is Authenticate, the second one is Quarantine. So Quarantine is generally used by institutions, educational institutions or higher education institutions, whereas the Authenticate used by publishers. So when it comes to Authenticate, actually we can exclude the plagiarism, highest plagiarism. There are repository data which has been already available in YouTube, and you can see. But if the author is not related to the particular university, author or co-author is not related to the university, definitely we will ask for it. We'll raise query.
These were some questions that I wanted to ask from the very beginning of the session. We've also got the poll responses, which are being shared at the moment, sir.
Do you understand the required document for manuscript submission? Someone has mentioned no. If they have any doubt, they can contact me at any time. I'll share my email address as well as contact number. Anytime, any people can contact me. Anyone can contact me. I am very happy to help.
That's very generous, sir. We will also be sharing with the participants another link for them to share the feedback. So I'll get the responses consolidated and I'll also share that with you, sir.
I will also share the details of Web of Science Index with journals, madam. You can share with the participants.
Sure, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
If you have some time, you can stay on the session, but we just have some instructions to pass on with the participants, but nothing important.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dear participants,